have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark in for Blue tonight, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us as we are now, 1 week and change away from the National Football League draft. A week from tomorrow up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, the Jaguars have the 5th overall pick. Of course, they have 10 draft picks in total next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 6 of those will be inside of the top 126 selections. So we will certainly spend a lot of time on the Jacksonville Jaguars tonight. We'll look around the rest of the NFL as well. A lot of rumors out there, some involving the Jacksonville Jaguars. We will take a deep dive into what we think's going to happen, what we expect to happen, what we hope happens for the Jaguars, again, 1 week from tomorrow with the NFL draft. It will, of course, be the first NFL draft in a Jaguar capacity for both James Gladstone and Liam Cohen. More on that in just a moment. We'll also look at spring football. We'll put a wrap on spring ball in Gainesville with the Gators. We will continue talking about the Nico fallout in Knoxville, as we'll touch upon some college football tonight as well. A little NBA talk as the postseason is underway. The Orlando Magic just give the Atlanta Hawks the beating last night in the fourth quarter. Orlando advances to take on Boston. Yeah, I know. They're probably not going to beat the Celtics. I'm not breaking any news there. But amidst all the injuries the Magic had this year, to me, the season cannot be a failure at this point because they did at least make the playoffs amidst all those injuries. So we will talk a little NBA postseason as well later on here this evening. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. In less than 15 minutes, my buddy Leon Searcy. You hear him every day on Prime Time. We get him periodically during the NFL offseason on Hacker After Dark. We'll do a deep dive into the Jacksonville Jaguars and Leon's thoughts on where the Jaguars may go in the draft. At the top of the 7 o'clock hour, Jacob Infante of Pro Football Network, as we will not only look at the Jaguars, but take a look around the rest of the NFL, including picks 1 through 4, and how all of that may ultimately play itself out. So we're glad you're with us. We're here till 8 o'clock tonight in for Blue on Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, I got some numbers for you. That's what I do. I get the numbers, I present them to you, and you do with them what you will. All right? The first number is 254. And you say, Hacker, what does that mean? 254. Well, that is how many draft picks the Jacksonville Jaguars have had in their history. 254 times. An NFL commissioner or a former player has gone to that podium and said, with such and such pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars select blank. It's a lot of draft picks, man. 254. The Jaguars are scheduled to add at least 10 more to that next week in Green Bay. The second number I'm going to give you is the number 35. That's how many first-round picks the Jaguars have made in their history. 35 first-round selections. We all know the names, but when you say it like that, wow. I mean, you know, we know this franchise is getting some longevity to it. When you were my age, I was 12 when they started playing football here at what was Jacksonville Municipal Stadium at the time. I'm going to be 42 this year. So the team is getting some longevity. But 35 draft picks in the first round. It's a lot. And the final number I'm going to give you is 10. That's how many top 5 picks the Jaguars have had in franchise history. That number is scheduled to go to 11 next week as the Jaguars select number 5 in the NFL draft. And if you go through the memory banks, I probably could do this in order with the correct year, but in the interest of time, I will just go in order from earliest to most recent. And you think about the 10 guys that the Jaguars have selected in the top 5. How many have they hit on? How many have they missed on? Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that Tony Boselli was a hit in 1995. Put that in the checkmark column. 1-0 for the good side. Kevin Hardy in 1996, he was a top 5 guy. I'd say that was a hit. Kevin Hardy had, I believe, 6 really good years here in Jacksonville. I got no issue with him being a top 5 pick. 2-0 in favor of the good. Trust me, it will get bad here in a little bit. Again, just simply talking about guys that were in the top 5. Certainly there have been a lot of guys outside the top 5 that were bad. I'm just talking about guys in the top 5. And let's begin with Justin Blackmon in 2012. That, to me, is a bad one. And it's an unfortunate one because of what could have been. Justin Blackmon only played, 24 games in a Jaguar uniform? But he showed major glimpses in a very short amount of time. Unfortunately, he had demons off the field that he simply could not control. The following year, Luke Joeckel. Luke Joeckel was the 2nd overall pick. Yikes. That's too good and too bad in the top 5 for the Jaguars in their history. How about Blake Bortles in 2014? Now, Blake's an interesting one. I love the boat. I'm a big fan of the boat, and the boat was the starting quarterback for the Jaguars in the AFC Championship game in 2017. But let's be real to one another. The boat was not worth a top 5 selection. The boat was only here, 5 years? So from that standpoint, you can't say that's a hit. That's also a miss. Dante Fowler. I don't think that was a hit either. Obviously, a major hit when he got drafted, tearing the ACL 2 weeks after the fact. He had some nice moments here in Jacksonville, but that was pretty much it. Think about what I just did right there. The Jaguars picked in the top 5 back to back to back to back to back to back years. They had 6 consecutive years in the top 5. Starting in 2012, ending in 2017. They go from Justin Blackmon to Luke Joeckel to Blake Bortles to Dante Fowler to Jalen Ramsey to Leonard Fournette. All of them were inside the top 5. Ramsey was a hit, although he wasn't here very long. I'd say Fournette was probably a wash. Good player. Was he worth a top 5 pick? Probably not. And then I'd say Trayvon Walker and Trevor Lawrence were hits. So that's 10 guys the Jaguars have drafted in the top 5. They'll make their 11th top 5 selection next week. The man that'll be overseeing that is James Gladstone. Denmark, let's play cut 10 from yesterday's press conference. James Gladstone at the Miller Electric Center, courtesy of courtesy of Jaguars.com, our friends at Jaguars.com. James Gladstone was asked about setting the tone for the first pick in his Jaguar general manager tenure next Thursday night.
I think naturally that's absolutely where your mind goes. And we've had discussions on that subject a number of times. And certainly feel really good about the pot of players right now that we're discussing, and that would align with all the messages that we would like to send to the locker room, to our fan base, to the greater football landscape about who the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be moving forward.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have drafted 254 players in their franchise history. They have had 35 first-round picks in franchise history, and as we just said, 10 of those were inside the top 5. And you know what all of that means right now on April the 16th, 2025? Absolutely nothing. because it's a new tenure. It's a new regime. It's a new general manager. It's a new head coach. And both James Gladstone and Liam Cohen are going to be given the opportunity next week at the NFL draft to begin putting their stamp on this organization. We've already had stamps of Trent Baalke and Dave Caldwell and Gene Smith and Shaq Harris on down the line. We've had the stamps of Doug Peterson and Urban Meyer and Doug Marrone and Mike Mularkey on down the line. Now we get the stamp of Liam Cohen and James Gladstone, and it begins next week. And I think it officially begins next week. The 10 free agents they brought in pro free agency are nice, but you're not going to build sustainable winning organizations, cultures, any of that stuff unless you draft well. And we know that all too well here in Jacksonville. You can bring in high-priced free agent after high-priced free agent after high-priced free agent. If you don't draft worth a darn, it doesn't mean anything. And the Jaguars haven't drafted worth a darn in a long, long time. Somebody asked me, how's James Gladstone going to do? And my answer is always the same. Well, he can't be worse, because I don't think he can be. I don't think you can be worse than Trent Baalke and Dave Caldwell and Gene Smith and Shaq Harris. I think it is literally impossible to be worse. Maybe as bad, and I certainly hope he's not as bad, but I don't think it's possible to be worse. All eyes are on Gladstone and Cohen. They know that. It'll be very exciting to see what they do next week. Will it be Mason Graham? That's the obvious pick if he's there. Or could it potentially be a surprise? A Jalen Walker? A Tyler Warren, an Ashton Genty. Let's talk about all of it. My buddy Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on primetime. We also get him pretty regularly right here on Hacker After Dark. Let's talk Jaguars. Let's talk draft. Let's talk about all those prospects I just mentioned. We'll see what Leon Searcy would do. That conversation is next on a Wednesday night. Here in Jacksonville, Florida, Hacker After Dark, in for Blue, right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
When you want action,
Jacksonville on the move here, first drive of the game.
it's 1010XL,
If you're a Jags fan, you better get your popcorn ready, because this guy's something.
where the action is.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
I'm Chris Campione. Veterans have given so much in the service of our country, but when it comes to legal challenges, you shouldn't have to fight alone. At Campione Law, we're here to help veterans like you get the support and compensation you deserve. Whether it's a workplace injury, a personal injury claim, or navigating a veteran's disability claim, we'll stand by your side every step of the way. Your service to our country matters. Let us serve you with the dedication and respect you deserve. Call Campione Law for a free consultation today. Campione Law, fighting for veterans, fighting for justice. Visit CampioneLaw.com.
Attention Florida homeowners, for 1 month only. Save big with Renewal by Anderson. Get $300 off every window and $825 off all patio doors. Plus, call now and ask about our brand new Ensemble entry door system. But hurry, this limited time offer won't last. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com today to schedule your free design consultation. That's bestwindowsflorida.com. Renewal by Anderson, your trusted window and door experts. Superior products, exceptional service. License number CGC 1527613.
Out with the old, in with the organized. Mia here for my friends at Closets by Design. Freshen up your home this spring with a custom organization solution. For a limited time, take advantage of our spring special and enjoy exclusive savings on closets, garages, home offices, and more. That's 40% off with an additional 15% off with 12-month special financing through April. Spring on this deal before it's gone. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation with Closets by Design.
One man, one hammer. one place to hear it drop. Hammer Time with Hayes, weekdays on The Frangie Show.
Driven by Southside Kia. Online at SouthsideKiaJax.com on 1010XL.
This is Corona Premier. Just 90 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. It's a light beer that... Wait, this is a light beer? We should really tell people about... Right, that's why I'm here. Sorry. Corona Premier, unexpectedly, light beer.
Corona Premier, a light beer with just 90 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. The premier side of light. For those that are active and on the go, pick some up the next time you're heading out to enjoy the day under the sun. Corona Premier, an unexpectedly light beer.
Every morning that you wake up in a pest-free home is a good morning. And with Florida Pest Control's Pest-Free 365 Plus, you can. It's more than just a pest control or preventative maintenance plan. It's Florida Pest Control's promise that we'll be there providing pest-free living for your family all year long. To learn more about Pest-Free 365 Plus and to get your free quote, give us a call or visit flapest.com today and choose Pest-Free Living with Florida Pest Control.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Frank Frangie here. I was talking to a buddy the other day. His HOA told him his old fence had to go. I said, man, call Coil Fencing. They've been around the block since 1927. Heck, they probably built half the fences in Jacksonville. They do it all. Tough chain link for security. Those fancy aluminum ones the HOA actually likes. Nearly a century of keeping yards safe and looking good. If you need a fence, call Coil. You can trust the folks at Coil. 904-356-4821 or visit CoilJax.com. COYLE Jax.com.
Rebound Rehabilitation. 11 great locations across the First Coast, and they're just a click away when it comes to feeling strong and healthy again. If you need the best path to recovery, look no further than Rebound Rehab. Log on and check out one of their great 11 locations.
At Hurricane Grill and Wings, every day feels like the weekend. Fresh, never frozen chicken wings, tossed in over 30 bold flavors, paired with ice-cold beer and handcrafted cocktails, all in a laid-back, beachy atmosphere. And with every game on the big screens, it's the ultimate escape. And you're home for sports, too. Great food, cold drinks, and all the games. That's Hurricane Grill and Wings. Escape the ordinary and find your spot at HurricaneWings.com.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Next week, the NFL Draft up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Jaguars have 10 overall picks as it stands right now. 6 of those are in the top 126 selections. And, of course, all eyes are on that number 5 overall pick in round number 1. Let's talk to a man that was drafted in the first round of the NFL Draft back in the day. He's played in a Super Bowl. He's made a Pro Bowl. And you hear him every day now on XL Primetime. That's my buddy Leon Searcy. Leon, how are you, pal?
I'm doing great, bro.
Leon, a week out from the draft, rewind the clock back to 1992. What's the emotions of all these prospects today, knowing their life will be changed forever next week?
Well, you know, I was in a situation where there was so much speculation on where I was going to go, what team I was going to go to. I was kind of to the point where, listen, I want to get it over with. I wanted to close the chapter on my life at the University of Miami. I wanted to be able to, whatever team picked me, I wanted to go ahead and, start playing. Because, listen, I can imagine the roller coaster ride that these kids are on, because I'm watching it right now on TV. The speculation of guys going up, guys going down, stock going up, stock going down, this team making a trade, this team trading back out, all that kind of stuff. And listen, I was a part of that scenario back in the day. They had me anywhere between the second overall pick to the 12th overall pick to the 20th overall pick. So it's fun, but as a football player, you kind of want some stability. You want to pick a team so you can go ahead and move forward. And I was fortunate enough that the Steelers chose me in the first round with the 11th pick overall.
Were you communicating with your agent every day, a week before the draft? Was he giving you different scenarios, teams that are interested in you, that sort of thing?
Absolutely, he was. And, at that particular time, I had 2 visits to teams that I took. I took a visit to Philly, and I took a visit to Dallas. They seemed to be, I'm not sure where they were on the big board, but of course, Jimmy Johnson was there with the Dallas Cowboys, so he knew me. And there was speculations that he may take a shot at me. And then Sam Jankovic was our old athletic director who was working with the New England Patriots, and they had the 5th overall pick. So they had me speculated somewhere between 5 and 17 where the Cowboys were picking.
And ultimately, Pittsburgh grabbed you in 1992, and the rest is history as we're here with former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. All right, Leon, we know what the Jaguars did in free agency. You and I talked about that a few weeks ago. Now it's all about the draft, and I guess it starts with Mason Graham, right? I think of all the mock drafts that are being released, golly, 75, 80% of them at least have Mason Graham to Jacksonville. Your thoughts on an interior defensive lineman and your thoughts on Mason Graham in particular and how he would fit here?
Well, my first introduction to Mason Graham actually was last year when I was watching them play Ohio State. And we was in the midst of a Jaguar season where we were struggling up front on both sides of the ball. And I'm watching that game, and I'm texting back and forth with Coach Campbell, and I'm saying, Coach, I will take Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant right now on this team, the way they were disruptive. And they was in the Ohio State backfield the whole game, stopping the run, getting after the passer. So listen, I like the kid. He's a motor kid. He reminds me of another Michigan grad who has a motor, is very physical with his hand. That was Hutchinson, that got drafted 2nd overall a couple of years ago. So I like him. I like that he's a disruptor. I like because he's going to play that 3 technique. He's effective with his hands and leverage and disruption. My only concern with Mason Graham is that his lack of productivity as far as sacks go. I mean, if you're taking a defensive tackle that high, you'd like to see a little bit more production from him as far as sacks-wise. And I was looking at some of the guys like the Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald, Warren Sapp. You're talking about guys who went fairly high interior defensive linemen, and all those guys had at least 20 or more sacks in their career. I think Mason Graham maybe has 7.5, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a little low. But I like what I see on film. I've done enough film study on the kid to say that he's a former wrestler, so he's very keen on leverage. He's good with his hands. He's a disruptor, and not only in the run, but also in the pass. But my only concern as far as the sack totals go is that he's getting up the field, but he's not always getting home.
I heard an interesting, I guess it was a critique on him from a few draft analysts. I want to ask you because, golly, you were down in those trenches for 11 years in the National Football League. I hear that Mason Graham is on the ground a lot. Whether he's tripping over, the pile. I don't necessarily think he's getting pancaked. That's not what they were saying, but I've just heard that he's on the ground an awful lot for a big physical defensive tackle. What's your thought there?
I mean, that could be a concern. I mean, as long as he's not getting double teamed and getting pancaked on the ground, that would be a huge concern. Maybe he's a little over aggressive when it comes to coming off the ball. Some defensive players, that they may overexert themselves on the move and find themselves on the ground. But see, those type of things, I think it's a concern, but those type of things are coachable. Those are coachable things. If it was something that was not not coachable, then I would be concerned about it. But listen, the kid is a motor, and sometimes he may get a little too juiced up, sort of say. And if he's missing on moves and he's falling to the ground, I mean, those are things that you can work on, in practice.
Former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. Hear him every day on Prime Time. We're lucky enough to have him here on Hacker After Dark. All right, Leon, let's look at some of the other guys that are at least in the conversation here. Jalen Walker is a guy from Georgia that a lot of people are intrigued about. You want to talk about intangibles. We know how much James Gladstone likes the term intangibly rich. Well, you talk to people around that Georgia program, and they love Jalen Walker's leadership, everything he did for that defense with Kirby Smart. I remember I heard a story where Georgia was struggling on kickoff coverage. Jalen Walker, their best player on defense, goes up to Kirby and essentially says, put me on the blanking kickoff team, because he was tired of them giving up, long returns. I guess the question with him is he's kind of a tweener, right? Is he a off-ball linebacker? Can he put his hand on the ground on third down? What's your opinion on Walker from Georgia?
Well, I mean, there's another motor guy that, listen, anytime you come out of Georgia, I mean, the pedigree on defense, it says a lot, because those teams over the years have been a stickler for defense. So if Kirby gives him the green light, then you got to at least look at him. I haven't seen much film on him, but I have studied him now and then. But he's the type of guy, probably like a Trayvon Walker type of guy. Maybe not, you don't rank him as high. Maybe he's a project guy. Maybe he's a tweener, like you said, stand-up linebacker, rush in. But he's quick, he's long, he's physical. My only concern, because the last regime, less subtle, went after so many different projects. I like to draft somebody that's complete. Now, if you tell me this coaching staff can develop this kid to make him and turn him into a star, then I'm all for it. But I think the last regime, we dealt with a lot of project players, not established players, and then we had to wait for their projections and wait for them to develop. I mean, I think this team, in my opinion, unless you tell me that we got a coaching staff that can develop them, I would rather go after guys that we know that are going to be mainstays, week one starters than possibly projects that we're working on.
It would be interesting, too, if they take Walker. What does that mean for Trayvon and Hines Allen? Do you move Trayvon Walker inside on third down, pass rush situations? All sorts of interesting possibilities. We'll certainly see. Another guy that's getting at least some conversation as we head down the home stretch here, Leon, is Ashton Jeanty, the running back from Boise State. And look, I know you as an offensive lineman, a physical offensive lineman, you love the running game. Number 5 for a running back, that's high, but people think Jeanty might have that Saquon Barkley it factor. What's your thought on Jeanty?
Well, listen, the kid's a dynamic runner. I mean, he has this jump hop ability and able to keep full stride that I haven't seen since the likes of Freddie T.
Wow.
I mean, he's special. He's a special guy. Now, if you draft him that high at 5, you're basically saying he's the next Saquon Barkley. I mean, it's as far as drafting running backs that high, you can't miss on them. You've got to hit on them, because you got so many teams in the NFL that are picking up running backs in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round and develop them behind a solid offensive line. But I mean, listen, you got to remember too, this is a copycat league, and all the damage that Saquon Barkley did with the Eagles of last year, I think Ashton Jeanty's coming into the league at the right time, because if you can build your team on a solid foundation of defense, a solid offensive line, and a good running game, 90s football is back, whether you like it or not. That ground and pound, the Eagles figured it out and made it popular again. So Ashton Jeanty is coming into the league right now. I think somebody's going to take him that high and think that they can develop him behind a solid offensive line and maybe do some things.
Final moments with Leon Searcy. Leon, I guess the other one that's kind of an outlier, but it is getting some conversation, is Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State. And look, the thing with him, and you look at the need for the Jaguars, I mean, if the season started today, it's Brenton Strange, Hunter Long, and Johnny Munt are your 3 tight ends. I think they're going to take a tight end somewhere. I would be surprised if it's at number 5. Having said that, I actually have seen 2 mock drafts coming out from pretty respectable guys over the last, I'd say, 72 hours that had Tyler Warren going number 5 to Jacksonville. What's your thought?
Well, I mean, listen, this new regime doesn't have any true commitments to the old picks by the old regime. And I mean, a lot of people may, if they do pick them, they're going to ask questions. But I mean, Brendan Strange is not their guy. I mean, if they look on their big board and say, hey, listen, this guy gives us a better opportunity to win, then you've got to pull the trigger and pull. I mean, you've got to make the decision what's in the best interest of the franchise. And people may second guess it, but these guys have watched enough film. And if they don't think that Brendan Strange, who was another Penn State guy, is not the answer, then don't be surprised if they do. I wouldn't be surprised by anything this new regime does, because I don't think they're fully committed to the old regime's picks, and they're trying to upgrade the roster. And I think Warren would definitely upgrade the roster. But in my opinion, I think you could probably get, and I might sound like a homer right now, but I think you could probably get a guy like Elijah Arroyo, maybe somewhere in the late 2nd or early 3rd round.
Yeah, it's apparently a very, very deep tight end class. I've heard one of the best tight end classes in decades, so I agree there is a lot of depth there. Leon, let's end with your bread and butter. Will Campbell, Armand Membo, and Kelvin Banks from Texas. Those are the 3 offensive linemen. Look, I think 5 would be high for Banks, but if you can't trade out of there, and if you like him, you'd have to take him at 5. Odds are the Patriots are going to take one of Will Campbell or Armand Membo, which means one of them would be available. Of those 3, Membo, Banks, and Campbell, who do you like the most?
I like Campbell. I think all 3 offensive linemen, in my opinion. 5 is too high for all 3 of them. I wouldn't go that. I mean, I would take these guys probably somewhere 15 or lower, but someone that desperately needs an offensive lineman is going to definitely take maybe at least 2 of them, probably in the top 10. I wouldn't be surprised if the New England Patriots take Will Campbell at 4, which I think that might be a high grade for him. But I wouldn't take any of these offensive linemen right now as far as what I've seen on film as high as 5. I mean, if you're taking a guy as high as 5, you're talking about rare air. You're talking about the likes of I'm talking about Hall of Fame linemen. You're talking about
you're talking John Ogden. He was taken at 4. Yeah.
You're talking Ogden, Pace,
Walter Jones,
those type of guys. So no, I don't think they're, in my assessment of the film that I watched with them, that either one of them are in that class. But you can still get a quality pick out of them if you take them somewhere between 12 to 18, but someone's that desperately needs a lineman is going to probably take 2 of them in the top 10.
Leon, leave us with this. You were at home for the draft, right? You didn't go to New York?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was home.
What was the reason for that? Because I know a lot of guys are making that decision right now. Do I go to Green Bay? Do I watch the draft with my family? What went into your reasoning?
Well, my reasoning is because New York was cheap as hell. They only offered me 4 tickets, and I needed 10. So they only sold me 4 tickets, and I needed 10 because most of my family lived in Orlando. So when they could only sell me 4 tickets, I said, to hell with that. I'm just going to stay in Orlando and do the draft in Orlando. So they were just cheap as hell is the reason why I didn't go.
And I know you always tell me the story. Wasn't it the great Stuart Scott that was right there on the scene for one of your first interviews after you got drafted?
My dad knew Stuart Scott because my dad worked at the airport. He handled all minority cleaning contracts at the airport. And he would see Stuart Scott coming in and out of the airport, and he would talk to him. And Stuart Scott asked my dad, hey, listen, when your son gets drafted, I'd like to be the first person to draft him. And then once I got drafted, we went outside and there was a bunch of media outside, and I gave Stuart Scott my first interview after I got drafted.
That's awesome. That's a great story. Leon Searcy, the number 11 overall pick in the 1992 NFL Draft. Of course, you hear him every day now on XL Primetime. Leon, enjoyed it, my friend. Thank you as always. We'll talk again after the draft. We'll see how the Jaguars fared.
You got it, bro.
Where electrifying moments come to life.
Inside of a minute to play.
And legendary performances lead.
A monumental milestone in a legendary career.
1010XL. The power of Jacksonville Sports Radio.
MOV, ING, Southside Kia is moving. Our moving sale is on right now. Help us clear new Kias out. Our current selection's got 200 plus Kias on the lot. Hurry to save big with us. New rides starting at just $20,000 bucks. Plus, bring your tax refund today. We'll double it up to $5K. MOV, ING, get to Southside Kia this spring. Online at SouthsideKiaJacks.com. Get your next ride at Southside. For complete details, call 904-325-9208.
Trying to figure pricing at most AC companies is like listening to an auctioneer.
Who wants an AC tune-up? Do I hear $3.99? How about $2.99? No, let's drop it. $79? Do we have a deal? Going once, going twice? Sold!
Not at Duck Duck Air Conditioning. We make it easy. We're offering a free AC inspection. No gimmicks, no fine print, just a completely free checkup from our highly trained techs to make sure your AC is ready for summer. Call 904-862-6769 now to schedule. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, because free is better than bidding. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging? Spring is here, a time to renew. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, here to help you look and feel your best with minimal to no downtime. Rejuvenate your skin, strengthen your core, and sculpt your body with advanced face and body treatments designed to restore your youthful glow and confidence. Just in time for spring and summer. A healthier, more fit you starts now. Visit dermagnify.com and step into spring looking and feeling your best.
Take a radio boat ride with Captain Cabin on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Reeled in by the Pest Pros at Royal Pest Services and awaken 180 weight loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
It's ET here, and did you know that slow speed accidents can still cause serious injuries? Ignoring minor pain today can mean big problems tomorrow. Don't wait. Call my guys at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center, the auto accident experts.
No matter what the reason, sending a floral arrangement from Kuhn Flowers always works. For unique and special gifts, visit their showroom on Beach Boulevard. Dylan Denmark here with 1010XL. Kuhn Flowers is my go-to and should be yours. Online at kuhnflowers.com.
If golf is your thing, you'll want to check out the 2025 Hills Pass at Hidden Hills Golf Club. Unlimited golf, including golf car, and preferred tee times for just one low price. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to purchase your Hills Pass today.
How much do the performers for Super Bowl halftime shows get paid?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Super Bowl performers are not paid for their shows, but production costs are covered by the NFL, which could go as high as $15 million.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
Hi, I'm Jeff Breyer, president of Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring.
And I'm Zach Breyer. When my dad started in business in 1990, I wasn't even born yet.
That's true, and after 35 years and nearly 20,000 satisfied customers, we literally have a showroom in every neighborhood.
So whether you need more outdoor living space with a glass or screen enclosure, or you're looking to transform your home with new flooring, we've got you covered.
Visit our websites, or better yet, do yourself a favor and stop by one of our showrooms on Phillips Highway to experience the lifetime difference and receive 20% off your purchase.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
Keeping kids active is a full-time job for parents. Look no further, though, than I-9 Sports, covering Duval, St. John's, and Clay to get your youngster in the game. Spring and summer registration open right now for flag football, soccer, t-ball, and basketball. Plus, all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. I-9 Sports with fields and gyms all over 3 counties. And the best thing is I-9 Sports offers sports year-round so kids can always find a sport to play. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
DUI? DUI? Don't stress. Call me Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
20 minutes before the 7 o'clock hour. Hacker After Dark till 8 o'clock. 1010XL 92.5 FM. Local programming doesn't stop tonight at 8 o'clock. I'm in for Baloo. Somebody's going to be in for me, right? In my normal time slot. Yeah, RJ Saunders, open gym, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock tonight, tomorrow, and Friday. So we'll have local programming for you as we do each and every night up until 10 o'clock. This week is no exception. I'll be 6 to 8 the remainder of the week. RJ Saunders, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock tonight here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. I got a thought about the whole Nico situation in Knoxville. That's coming up in one moment. I don't know if you guys saw this earlier today. One of the more respected names in the mock draft business, the NFL draft business, is Dane Brugler. And Dane Brugler, who I know Dempsey has on periodically during this time of year on Jaguars Today, I think does a pretty good job. He's one of the guys, right? You think of mock draft guys. Well, you think of, obviously, the Godfather and Mel Kiper Jr. and Daniel Jeremiah and Field Yates, and you go on down the line. You can just rattle them off, right? But Dane Brugler is probably on that list somewhere. So if he differs from any other mock draft that you've seen, I'm going to at least take note of it, bring it up on the show. And Dane Brugler, if you saw this morning, differed from the general consensus about the Jaguars at number 5. Because I would say 80-90% of the mock drafts out there have Mason Graham coming to Jacksonville. That's something that I probably am going to agree with when all is said and done. But in the interest of a conversation, Dane Brugler today, in his 7-round mock, had the Jacksonville Jaguars not taking Mason Graham. Instead, had the Jaguars taking Ashton Jeanty, the running back from Boise State. Now, there has been significant rumblings about Jeanty in Jacksonville, and they only started in the last, couple of days, week max. Now, my question is this, and you see this basically every year, numerous times with different organizations as the draft gets closer and closer and closer. What can you believe? What is fact? What is fiction? But when a name starts getting linked to a team that really wasn't linked in the last few months, only has become linked in the last few days, well, then somebody heard something from someone, and then it becomes kind of a domino effect, right? Maybe somebody said something in passing. Maybe somebody exchanged text messages and pleasantries, and there was just this Ashton Jeanty talk all of a sudden in Jacksonville did not just get conjured out of thin air. It came from somewhere. Now, Could this talk be over with in 3 days? I mean, the crazy thing about this whole process, I mean, honestly, think about this, guys. Since the Jaguars were not going to the playoffs, we've basically been looking at this draft Thanksgiving, probably. I think I had my first draft analyst on Hacker After Dark. I think I begrudgingly waited until after the regular season ended. But I was talking draft. I know I was in December. I know I was. And I'm pretty sure it was around Thanksgiving, which is a good barometer. So let's say Thanksgiving. And in that time, there's been talk of, will Travis Hunter fall to Jacksonville at number 5? Will Abdul Carter fall to Jacksonville at number 5? What about Will Campbell? What about Armand Memba? What about Kelvin Banks? Remember, Tony Baselli is the EVP of football operations. He's going to voice his opinion for an offensive lineman. Then there was the inevitable Mason Graham. Then there were a couple of days where Jalen Walker was having his cup of coffee in the rumor mill here in Jacksonville. And I didn't even mention the Will Johnson talk that was probably around Thanksgiving. Remember that guy? The corner from Michigan? Yeah, there was Will Johnson conversation coming to Jacksonville for a little bit. And as we've gone through this roller coaster of draft season, we've had Will Johnson, we had Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, you know, the offensive line talk because of Baselli, the Jalen Walker talk. We've had a little bit of Tyler Warren talk. Now I guess we're in the final stages of the draft process. Again, it is next week in Green Bay. Now all of a sudden, this is the Ashton Jeanty portion of the pre-draft process. He's getting his 72, 96 hours. His cup of coffee in the Jaguar circles when it comes to picks or rumors or things that may or may not happen. My thing with Jeanty is this. It's an intriguing option. No doubt about that. An absolutely intriguing option. But I look at it from a Saquon Barkley factor, right? Saquon Barkley with the Giants was really, really good. But the Giants still sucked as a football team despite how good Saquon Barkley was. Why was that? Well, they had so many holes in so many other places that having a Pro Bowl running back, when healthy, of course he had some injury issues in New York, but when healthy, it just didn't matter because the Giants were lacking in so many other areas. That, to me, is an Ashton Jeanty situation here. I don't doubt that Ashton Jeanty could be a very good football player. A very good running back. I think he probably could be. But again, I look at it from the Jaguar perspective of, can we afford a really good running back when we're lacking in so many other areas? You see Saquon Barkley take his talents to Philadelphia, a team that was not lacking in a lot of areas, and all of a sudden he's hoisting a Lombardi trophy. Did Barkley get that much better from his time in New York to his time in Philadelphia? Or did he just have simply better teammates around him in Philadelphia? I think it's the latter. So I don't think Ashton Jeanty's a bad football player, but I think it's about circumstances for him. Is Jacksonville the right circumstance? I don't know. I would tend to doubt that. Mason Graham is probably the boring pick, right? That's what I hear a lot. People want to be dazzled. People want to be wowed. I look at it, call it a safe pick, call it a boring pick. Is it boring if it's the correct pick? There's a question for you. Because I think it would probably be the correct pick. I think they have a need at interior defensive line. And I think certainly you look at the track record of James Gladstone's time in L.A., and it's been proven that they like in defensive linemen. Look back last year to Braden Fisk and obviously Jared Verse, Byron Young a couple of years ago. I'm still in the Mason Graham camp, but I do think it's interesting that we have entered what it appears to be the Ashton Jeanty portion of the rumor mill here in Jacksonville. Very similar to Jalen Walker, very similar to Will Johnson. They've all had moments. They've all had spurts here in this process. And finally, we're going to get some answers in 8 days, a week from tomorrow in Green Bay. We're going to talk more about the draft in just a moment. Jacob Infante of Pro Football Network joins us in 10 or so minutes. Quickly, I want to get to the Nico situation in Knoxville. Apparently, the rumor mill is that UCLA appears to be the leader in the clubhouse. We know Nico's a West Coast guy. Remember, in the spring portal, he cannot transfer inside the Southeastern Conference, so he has to go outside the SEC. I think UCLA appears to be the favorite right now. You know, it's interesting, Denmark, in thinking about this, and I want to say I heard Urban Meyer on a podcast talking about this earlier in the week. You know, everybody commends Josh Heupel in Tennessee for taking a stand against what essentially became a holdout, right? Nico and Nico's camp, his dad, reportedly, more than anybody, wanted more than what was agreed upon. Tennessee and Nico agreed to $2.2 to $2.5 million. Nico's camp said that's not working for us. We want to get closer to $4 million. Tennessee said, I don't think so. And Nico enters the transfer portal. And everybody commends Heupel and the Volunteers for doing that. I'm one of them. I commend them for doing that. I bet you a lot of college football programs commend Tennessee for doing that, because if Tennessee would have given in, that would have opened the floodgates for many, many different players around the country to go to their respective schools and ask for more money. But I'm commending them, Denmark, in April, right? If we're sitting in late October, early November, and currently Tennessee does not really have a quarterback on their roster, and if that continues and they struggle this year without an established quarterback, and in early November they're 3-5 and limping to the stretch of the 2025 season, will the Volunteer Nation up in Knoxville still be commending Josh Heupel, or will they turn on him, as college fan bases have tended to do from time to time?
Definitely will. I mean, this situation, nobody wins. Tennessee doesn't win. Heupel doesn't win. Nico doesn't win. Although I do think that Tennessee is going to get a quarterback out of the portal, and they're going to pluck somebody that's not in the SEC. Don't know who, but I heard Graham was telling me the other day, Andy Staples was saying that Tennessee's probably going to get a quarterback in the portal.
Well, they almost have to.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to go with the guys that they're on the roster right now. That's just not happening.
But even so, I mean, let's think about this. They've worked their entire offense to fit Nico's skill set. It's mid-April. The first game is 4 months and change away, so there's time, I guess.
Yeah, there's enough time.
But you're going to have to bring in a starting quarterback and teach him your entire playbook and tilt the offense to his skills, because Nico is certainly one of a kind. There's time. There's not that much time. I mean, they've fine-tuned this offense around Nico for the last 2+ years. If they get a quarterback on campus today, they have 120 days, roughly, before their opener. 120 days and some change. So it's not as if time is not of the essence for the Volunteers. I'm just curious, and I know a lot of people I've talked to, a lot of you guys listening that I've had conversations with about this. Right on. Don't give that kid's dad what he wants. He agreed to something. Make him stay to the agreement. I hear you. Absolutely. And most of you are Gator fans, so you're not going to care if Tennessee sucks anyway. But if you commend Heupel for sticking to his, guns and not giving in to the demands, great. Then don't kill him in October or November if Tennessee doesn't really have an established quarterback and they're struggling. Because I get the vibe, at least in the Volunteer fan base, that those that are commending him now will not be so gracious if it doesn't work out in the fall, which I think will be a shame, but it's the reality of the situation, man. It's where we are. It's SEC fan base 101. Everything's fine in April, but if you don't win in October, regardless of the circumstances, things are not going to be fine. And that will be a fascinating situation to watch with Nico and Tennessee. In fact, we're going to spend more time on that in the 7 o'clock hour, towards the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour. Mike Bratton, he is the host of That SEC Podcast. You may know him as SEC Mike on social media. I really enjoy talking with Mike. He joins me at the bottom of the hour to talk not only about Nico, but we'll certainly spend some time on Billy Napier and the Florida Gators as they just wrapped up spring drills this past week. But back into the National Football League to start the 7 o'clock hour, Jacob Infante, Pro Football Network, one of their main draft analysts. Let's not only talk Jags, Let's look at the top 4, how that's going to affect what Jacksonville does at 5. Let's talk about the draft class, maybe a few sleepers. We'll do a deep dive into the draft. Jacob Infante, Pro Football Network, joins me next on a Wednesday night here on Hacker After Dark, in for Blue till 8 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Murray with time.
Hey, this is Aaron Murray, quarterback for the University of Georgia Bulldogs on 1010XL 92.5 FM Sports Radio.
Yes, he did.
I'm Chris Campione. Auto accidents can leave you feeling lost and overwhelmed. But at Campione Law, we're here to guide you with a personal touch through every step of the process. We don't get paid unless you get paid. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione, Campione Law.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
First Coast, I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mack and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars to trucks to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our heroes at Zero Res. This month, get Zero Resified from Jacksonville's #1 carpet cleaner. You'll get 25% off all cleaning services. That's right, 25% off. Check out 8,000 raving customer reviews if you don't believe me online. Call them, 904-287-5727, or visit their website, ZeroResJacksonville.com. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Are you an experienced chiller technician and looking for a role where your skills are truly valued? It's time to make the move to Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. You'll get top pay, comprehensive health and welfare benefits for your family, and a pension that doesn't come out of your pocket. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we are glad you are with us. Next week up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, the Jaguars have 10 draft picks total, 6 of which are in the top 126 selections. And, of course, all eyes are on that number 5 overall pick in round number 1. Let's talk about the draft. Let's talk about the Jaguars and their outlook next week with Jacob Infante of Pro Football Network. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Jacob, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain. It's a fun time of year, so I appreciate you having me.
Hey, buddy, we certainly appreciate you. We know it's busy for you. And look, when we get on the doorstep of the draft, I mean, you with PFN, you've been talking about the draft for months and months on end, and now here we are basically a week out. It's got to be it's like a sense of relief that we're finally almost here.
Oh, geez, absolutely. I mean, it's been like you said, months and months of, nose to the grindstone. So there are only so many hypotheticals that you can bring up and think about. So it's definitely it's exciting to realize that the real thing's just right around the corner.
I want to focus on the Jaguars, Jacob, but first and foremost, the draft class as a whole. I've heard a lot of things. I've heard, 10 to 15, great prospects, and then maybe players 20 through 70 or much more similar than they have been in years past. I mean, how would you assess this class overall from a mile-high view?
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair to say. Honestly, I believe I have, I want to say 13 true first-round grades in this class. So that means independent of all other factors, all other strengths of the classes, these guys would go round 1 no matter what, which isn't a ton, honestly. So and you're definitely right. I think that even once you get out of the top 15, like the late teens through like the 50s or so, it's very, very similar. And I think that's going to be interesting too, because not a lot of teams are going to be willing to trade up, I don't think. Just because there, quite frankly, isn't going to be anybody necessarily worth giving up that additional draft capital for. So I think the Jaguars are in a good spot where I think they have an opportunity to get one of the blue chip players, with them picking at 5. Because honestly, I don't think that there are too many true blue chip prospects. I think that's probably 5 or 6 or so. And honestly, I don't consider the quarterbacks to be among them. And I do anticipate at least one quarterback going before the 5th overall pick, which is, obviously, I think that's a good thing for the Jaguars.
Jacob Infante, Pro Football Network, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Now, Jacob, let's focus on the top 4 first before we get to Jacksonville at number 5. I assume Cam Ward is your quarterback that you have going in the top 4. All indications are he's heading to Tennessee. And from our standpoint here in Jacksonville, obviously we're very interested in how Cam Ward will fare with the division rival. What is your opinion of him?
Yeah, so it's an interesting case because I feel like Cam Ward, for reference, he's like for sure my quarterback 1 in this class, I think by a decent margin. And with all that said, though, I think comparing him to last year, which was admittedly a stacked quarterback class, I think honestly I'd have both Michael Penix and J.J. McCarthy ahead of him, at least coming out as pre-draft grades coming out of college. So I think Ward grades a little bit higher than Bo Nix for me. And obviously Bo Nix had a strong year with the Broncos and Sean Payton there. But I think Ward in most classes, like an average quarterback class, is probably QB2 or QB3. That's not to knock him, though. I do think he's got legit long-term starting potential. I think he's got the arm. He's got the flashes of deep accuracy. He can make big plays. He's athletic as well. I think the potential's certainly there for him. Whether or not Tennessee's going to develop overnight into a powerhouse, I think that's a different discussion. I still think there are a good amount of pieces away on both sides of the ball, but they upgraded their offensive line significantly in free agency, and they've done a good job of drafting talent there the last couple of years. So who knows? I do expect the Titans to be a better team next year. Are they going to be great? I don't think so, but I do think they're going to be better.
That brings us to Shedeur Sanders, and look, all indications are that he's not going to go in the top 4, but yet we find out this week that the New York Giants are holding a private workout for him, I believe, on Thursday this week. And look, I still would be probably surprised if the Giants took Shedeur Sanders, but one thing, Jacob, you can't deny, the Giants have put a lot of time in with Shedeur Sanders. They've been at every workout. They've talked to him frequently. They're holding another workout for him this week. What, if anything, do you read into that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely smart for the Giants to do their due diligence, not just on Shedeur, but on any of the top quarterback prospects, especially, those not named Cam Ward. Because, look, you bring in both Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, that's anticipating that you're not going to draft a quarterback with the intention of starting him right away. So maybe that means you don't take one at 3, but at the same time, I wouldn't rule out taking one in round 2. I wouldn't rule out them trading up into the back end of the first round, ending up with 2 first-round picks, number 3 and somewhere in the 20s, and then say if Shedeur Sanders falls, or like a Jackson Dart, or if they really like Jalen Milroe. So I think it's definitely smart of them to keep their options open, because I don't think either of the 2 veterans they have right now are long-term answers by any means. And I do think in the case of Sanders, it's worth doing your homework on, because, he's the consensus QB2 in this class. He's an accurate player. He's a tough player. But there are some questions, I know, in terms of upside from, an arm talent, from an athleticism perspective. And then, I don't know, I feel like some people jump to conclusions about him from like a character perspective. I don't know necessarily how many of those are accurate. So at the very least, I think when you have a player like that who's got some sort of speculation around him, it's definitely smart to do your homework. So I think the Giants are certainly smart to do their due diligence, and I expect them to draft a quarterback at some point. I just don't know for sure if that's going to be at 3.
Couple of more for Jacob Infante of Pro Football Network. Jacob, you look at the top 4 before Jacksonville. Cam Ward, if we assume Shedeur does not go in the top 4, then obviously in some order, Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter will be some order there. And then that brings us to the Patriots at 4. And all eyes are on the Patriots here in Jacksonville. Obviously, that's the pick right before the Jaguars. And New England could go a variety of different ways. But I guess as we're getting closer to the draft, it looks like maybe offensive line for Mike Vrabel and the Patriots. What are you hearing?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet at this stage. I think it makes too much sense just from a value perspective and from a need standpoint. I mean, obviously they have a glaring need at left tackle. I mean, the Patriots have been aggressive in free agency, especially on defense. But now it becomes a question of, can you surround Drake May with the talent he needs to succeed? And I think he showed a lot as a rookie, especially in a subpar environment, which is really encouraging. But I think the value at offensive tackle at 4 is going to be really enticing. I'd expect it to be Will Campbell, the tackle from LSU. I wouldn't rule out Armand Membu, the tackle from Mizzou, but I do anticipate it to be Campbell. And I think that even with the wingspan concerns, I think, the tape doesn't lie, and it shows a really good athlete who's strong. He's got a really high football IQ. He's got a high motor, uses his hands well, coordinated. There's a lot to like with Will Campbell, and I think that the Patriots are really going to like him and his mentality and what he brings to the football field.
Jacob, I would say 80 to 90% of the mock drafts that are coming out on a daily basis have Mason Graham coming to Jacksonville at number 5. And more times than not, when that happens, I always kind of raise the red flag, saying, well, that almost seems too obvious. But I'm trying not to overthink this one. I mean, what is your thought on Graham, how he would fit here in Jacksonville, and do you like that pairing?
I definitely do. I think that's pretty good value there at 5 to take Mason Graham. I'd say the only really glaring weakness of his is that he's not huge. I mean, he's built pretty well, but the wingspan isn't massive. But I think he more than makes up for it with his athleticism, his quickness off the ball, his refined use of his hands and how he stacks and sheds blocks against the run and as a pass rusher as well. His low center of gravity, the power that he brings, the high motor that he rushes with. I mean, I feel pretty confident he's going to be a good starter in the NFL for sure. So I'd say that's a good pick at 5. I know the Jaguars have that need along the interior defensive line, and obviously, like you said, a lot of the mock drafts are going in that direction. Whether they do that, I mean, it remains to be seen, obviously. But I think Graham would be, for my money, the best player available at 5. And I think that if you bring him in, that's an instant contributor for Jacksonville's defensive line, and then that's someone with, in my opinion, perennial Pro Bowl potential.
Let's go rapid fire on a couple of names, particularly for Jacksonville at number 5. There are a couple of names that are really circulating in the late hours here before the draft next week. Tyler Warren, Penn State. What would your thoughts be?
That would be interesting because I do think that he's one of the top offensive players in this class. Certainly, in my opinion, the top tight end, the top pass catcher overall in this class. And I know the Jaguars with, Evan Ingram gone, that has opened up some touches at the tight end position. I think that might be a little bit high for Tyler Warren, but I do anticipate he's going to be a top 10 pick. So I think if he doesn't go 5 to the Jaguars, I think he goes 7 to the Jets. Warren's, he's a versatile player. He's physical. He's got good hands. I don't know if I'd take him top 5 because I think he's a good but not great athlete. And I think that if you're taking a tight end top 5, they've got to be an insane athlete. But again, that's another guy, I think, high floor, high ceiling as well. Just a smart physical football player who can line up all over the field.
We know how much Liam Cohen likes the running game. Would it shock you if Ashton Genty were the pick at number 5?
It would mildly surprise me, but I wouldn't be flipping out. I can see it, if that makes sense. And I think that with a player like Genty, I mean, you have to at least consider it because he's one of those blue chip prospects that I was referring to earlier where, he's coming out with, incredible numbers, incredible contact balance, great vision. He's shifty. He's powerful. He's good in the passing game as well. I think not a lot of people talk about that enough. What he's done in the receiving game, more so in 2023 than 24. But he's a do-it-all 3-down back who's got a really high ceiling at the next level. I think that if they go in that direction, I don't necessarily think the Jaguars will take Genty, but if they do, I can't blame them. I think that Genty's certainly he's an exception to where the kind of the rule is, you don't draft a running back too early. I think Genty's an exception to the rule. And with the lack of high-end quarterback talent, kind of pushing some of those guys further down the board, I don't think 5 would be a reach for Genty necessarily.
Final moments, Jacob Infante of Pro Football Network. Another guy on the defense that's kind of getting some talk here among the fan base anyway is Jalen Walker out of Georgia. Your thoughts there?
Yeah, so that would be a really interesting one because I think from a pure football perspective, from a pure athleticism perspective, Walker is one of the top players in this class. His versatility, the way he can play as an off-ball linebacker, sideline to sideline, the way he can rush off the edge, is really intriguing. I don't know, given his concerns as far as what position he plays at the next level, I don't know if that's a number 5 overall pick. Me personally, I have him as, you think of Frankie Louvu, the linebacker with the Commanders, where he plays a majority of his snaps in the box as an off-ball linebacker, but he still rotates in the defensive line rotation as an edge rusher. I think that's probably the best fit for Jalen Walker. Whether or not that's someone you want to take in the top 5, that's a different discussion, but I get it. Walker's an incredible talent. He's got natural pass rushing instincts. He's got some serious juice. He's one of the better athletes at edge rusher, at linebacker in general too. I don't think he has the size at this stage to be a full-time edge rusher. But I think that his versatility and how athletic he is and how good he is in a variety of alignments, I think that'll get him drafted higher than a lot of people are anticipating at this stage. Now, whether or not that's number 5, I don't know. But I do understand why people are that high on him for sure.
And then finally, Jacob, assuming Will Campbell goes to the Patriots at 4, Armand Membo or maybe even Kelvin Banks, if you can't trade back, would they warrant a number 5 overall pick, either one of those offensive linemen?
I think Membo would. I don't necessarily think Banks would be the best investment at number 5 that high. I think that at this stage, he's got too many concerns from a hand placement perspective. He's a little bit, can be a little bit too early or a little too late in how he lands his strikes. And, there's some times where if you lunge too much, your body control and your balance gets all out of whack. I think that's something, Banks falls over a bit too much, but the athletic upside is definitely there. I do think Membu would be worth considering, though. He's someone where, his entire time at Mizzou, he stood out for his power and his athleticism for a dude who's like 330 pounds. He's an elite athlete for an offensive lineman, period, not just for someone who's as big as he is. But he took significant strides in his, in his hand placement, his pad level, his spatial awareness. In 2024, he started playing a lot more confident and sure of himself. And I think that the fact that, he's only a junior heading into the league, he's a younger prospect with elite physical attributes who's shown that he's coachable, that he can improve tremendously over the span of just one off season. I think that'd be worth consideration at the 5th overall pick. Again, did the Jaguars go offensive line that early? I don't necessarily think so, but I think Membu at least has to be on the board. He at least has to be in consideration that high.
Jacob, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville not only about Pro Football Network, your coverage there and what they can expect on the website, but you also host a podcast dedicated to the Chicago Bears.
Yes, so you guys can check me out on Twitter, X, it's Jacob Infante 24. I've got written pieces for the NFL Draft over at Pro Football Network, as well as Windy City Gridiron. I cover the Chicago Bears on Windy City Gridiron. I've been, covering the draft in some capacity since 2017. And, it's one of my favorite things to do. Over at Pro Football Network, we've got a variety of, player scouting reports, mock drafts. I've done a handful of 7-round mock drafts with explanations for the first 3 rounds. And let me tell you, that's a labor of love for sure. That takes a long time. But it's been a lot of fun getting to break down this class, putting together rankings, putting together grades for this class. And you can definitely check me out on socials. My podcast doing sporadic appearances on Bears Over Beers on the Second City Gridiron Network. So yeah, that's where y'all can find me. Super appreciate you having me. I've always been kind of impartial to the Jaguars as my second team. So it's I'm pulling for you guys. I'll just say that.
Jacob Infante of Pro Football Network. Jacob, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for the time. Let's reconnect after the draft. We'll see where the dust is settled and how the Jaguars fared out. Appreciate you, pal.
Of course. Thank you.
Where is he? Where did he go?
Where's he going?
1010XL.
Hey guys, it's that time of year again. The home team is looking for new players on the field, and you're looking to get that old car or truck out of your driveway. I can help. This is John Johnson over at First Coast Recyclers. We buy junk cars. Draft us to buy your old car or truck for fast cash. Just call 904-294-1659 for a quick and easy quote from First Coast Recyclers. Come on, let's take your driveway back.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
All right, Paulio, let's get real for a minute. Losing weight isn't exactly easy, especially when your life involves being surrounded by good food about everywhere that you go. That'll include Jamaica, where I go in the morning. However, down 13 pounds, feeling sharper, more energized, never hungry. This isn't some juice diet, starving yourself nonsense. I'm eating food that tastes great, even when I'm out on the road. I'm going to be out on the road in Jamaica. Be very interested to see how things go. And then when I return, exactly how I get back into real life situations. Well, you know what? I feel really good about it because of Awaken 180. They give me the game plans. Temptation is everywhere, yet I've been able to work my way through it. Again, down 13 pounds. If you're tired of carrying around extra weight, tired of diets that don't work, join yours truly, Hacker, Dempsey, and Hayes. Go to Awaken180weightloss.com.
Listen to whatever you like, whenever you want.
I like this.
1010XL on demand. Ad-free shows after the live shows end. Channeled by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Search where you find podcasts.
Spring is in the air, and it's time for cool boats at hot prices. Come to the Jacksonville Spring Boat Show, April 25th, 26th, and 27th at Metropolitan Park. Don't miss killer deals on boats and accessories, plus fishing seminars, kids events, and more. The Jacksonville Spring Boat Show, presented by Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside. Come by boat and get in free. Tickets and info at boatjacks.com. That's boatjacks.com.
Your home is more than walls and a roof. It's where you breathe, drink, and power through life. At Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to keep it all running smoothly. From clean, cool air to clean water, reliable power to expert plumbing, we do it all. For over 35 years, families have trusted Donovan to make their homes healthier, safer, and more comfortable. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing today, 904-270-COOL, where health meets home.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's superior craftsmanship and timeless design. Right now, get $300 off all windows or $825 off patio doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months, but this offer expires April 30th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
It's heating up at Ride Now Jacksonville. Get water adventure ready with the 2024 Yamaha AR195 boat. With its supercharged engine, innovative design, and water sports features, the Yamaha AR195 is ready for anything you throw at it. Originally $46,000, now just $36,000. Oversized in-floor storage for wakeboards and extra gear, deck and hull design that maximizes space, comfort, and versatility like no other 19-foot boat. Ride Now Jacksonville on Blanding Boulevard. We'll meet or beat any price on all 2024 and prior models.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Hacker After Dark till 8 o'clock. 1010XL, 92.5 FM. I'm in for Blue the rest of the week. Somebody's got to be in for me from 8 to 10, right? RJ Saunders, Open Gym, follows us tonight, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Looking forward to listening to RJ and Open Gym coming up beginning at 8 o'clock. All right, so 10 mark, it was interesting. I woke up this morning to a bunch of notifications on my social media, on my X account. And I'm like, well, I didn't really tweet about anything last night outside of the Orlando Magic. And I wouldn't think I'd get like 47 notifications about my general thoughts on the Orlando Magic. Although I would love to talk Orlando Magic, and maybe we'll mention them again here in just a moment. No, it was because Hard Rock Bet tagged me in a post. And I don't know why they tagged me, but they did. I appreciate it, right? I guess they were thinking of me.
Because they want you to do what you're just doing right now.
Well, sure. I guess. Yeah. Maybe. Maybe they got me hook, line, and sinker. But it got me thinking. They tagged me and like 8 other people here locally in a post. And it was involving the Jalen Ramsey situation in Miami. So apparently Jalen Ramsey wants out of South Florida, or is mutually parting of the ways with the Miami Dolphins. And this account from Hard Rock said, all right, who says no to a Jacksonville reunion? And the idea was the Jaguars get Jalen Ramsey and a 6th-round pick in 2026 for a 4th-round pick in 2025 and a 7th-round pick in 2026 that would both go back to Miami. I don't know about that necessarily. Jalen Ramsey would cost an awful lot of money. And again, Jalen Ramsey was obviously a huge headache, a huge problem here for the Doug Marrone, Dave Caldwell, Tom Coughlin regime. It obviously did not end well at all with Jalen Ramsey, but that was years and years and years ago. We're talking, 6-7 years ago since Ramsey's been here. My thing with that scenario is simply this. Jalen Ramsey, at this point in his career, how much football does he have left? He's coming into, year 10? He's probably 30, 31 years old. He's going to want to go to a contender. And as much as I would love the fact of Jalen Ramsey with Tyson Campbell and Jordan Lewis and Jarian Jones, and that would be a great secondary all of a sudden, why on earth would Jalen Ramsey want to come here with a first-year head coach, kind of a rebuilding roster, right? No, that's a pipe dream. That's La La Land. Ramsey is going to, if he wants out of Miami, why would he want to come to Jacksonville? He's going to want to go to a contender. I've heard a lot of rumblings about Jalen Ramsey in San Francisco. Not sure if that'll happen or not, but that's at least a team that you hear in regards to Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey's still a top 10 corner in the league, Denmark?
Top 10, yes.
Yeah, probably. probably this might be the last year you can say that. Again, when corners hit a certain age, I don't care how good you are, you come downhill a little bit. You look at Patrick Peterson as a prime example of that. I just saw he retired as an Arizona Cardinal earlier this week. More NFL talk coming up, but I do want to shift gears to the college game. I want to talk about the Florida Gators and Billy Napier. I want to talk about them wrapping up spring ball. I want to talk about DJ Lagway and obviously talk about the Nico situation in Knoxville. And with that, let's talk to a guy who was actually at the Tennessee spring game this past Saturday. How awkward was that at Neyland Stadium after all the Nico news broke? Mike Bratton is the host of That SEC podcast. You probably know him as SEC Mike on Twitter/X. He does a terrific job covering the conference, and he joins me next on a Wednesday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. Glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark till 8 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
He knows the NFL.
Okay.
He knows the Jaguars.
Fellas, it's pretty simple.
He's here to tell you everything he knows about the NFL and the Jaguars.
You do a button hook, the rest of you guys block for me, I'll take care of the rest.
Mike Dempsey.
Okay, on go.
10 to noon on 1010XL.
MOV, ING, Southside Kia is moving. Our moving sale is on right now. Help us clear new Kias out. Our current selection's got 200 plus Kias on the lot. Hurry to save big with us. New rides starting at just $20,000 bucks. Plus, bring your tax refund today. We'll double it up to $5K. MOV, ING, get to Southside Kia this spring. Online at SouthsideKiaJacks.com. Get your next ride at Southside. For complete details, call 904-325-9208.
If you've played sports or still lead an active life, chances are joint pain is nothing new. This is Dr. George Barry of Barry Orthopedics, and we like to be your option when it comes to taking care of your body and getting back in the game. From shoulders to elbows to hip and knee pain, Barry Orthopedics can diagnose and treat a variety of injuries that are causing you pain. We are Barry Orthopedics and online at barryorthopedics.com. With more than 30 years of experience, our team is here to care for your entire family.
Find out more at barryorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins. Fighting for your rights since 1975.
The best game day parking in all of Duval is at Tailgaters Parking. Are you ready for some football? Tailgaters is just steps away on the east side of the stadium. Visit tailgatorsparking.com and secure your season parking pass today.
Join me, Max Fink, as I keep a close eye on everything that happens in Gator Nation.
The Gator Report, polished up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators!
1010XL's draft previews are brought to you by Hurricane Grill and Wings.
Abdul Carter would be a tremendous pick if he falls to the Jaguars at 5. The former Nittany Lion got pressure on 18.5% of his pass rushes last season, helping him register 12 sacks and 23.5 tackles for loss. His ability to play off the ball and off the edge will draw comparisons to Micah Parsons, and that would be a welcome addition to the teal and black arsenal already on the edge that features Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is JJ with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at KuhnFlowers.com.
Get ready for the best prices ever on all diamond stud earrings and all tennis bracelets at Beard's Diamonds. For 7 days, April 21st through 27th, you will get up to 40% off. Yes, 40%. Locally owned Beard's Diamonds always beats the big corporate store prices. But next week, they're taking value to a whole new level. All diamond stud earrings and all tennis bracelets are on sale. Big time. Best prices ever. You save up to 40%. Don't miss this first time ever buying opportunity. Next week only. And only at Beard's Diamonds, St. John's Town Center. Shop local, shop Beard's.
Interest rates have plummeted. It's time to call Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here, and if you're looking to get cash out of your home equity, refinance out of a high rate, or do a home improvement project, Loan Pronto can make it happen in a matter of just days. Take advantage of this opportunity and get tens or even hundreds of thousands out of your home equity. Pay off all your credit cards. Pay off your car loan. The average homeowner cuts their monthly bills by $1,000. Get more info at loanpronto.com. Inflation and higher costs have put a lot of people in a stressful financial situation. But if you own a home, there's a way out. Loan Pronto has multiple options that can help you get the financial freedom you deserve. Most homeowners get their cash in less than 2 weeks, and most don't even need an appraisal. Do the smart thing. Stop paying insane rates on those credit cards. Wipe them all out. Get a lower mortgage rate. Get some money for that home improvement project. Do it all by going to loanpronto.com or call 904-999-1508. That's loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Plumbing problem? AC not blowing cool? Septic tank backing up? No need to call 3 different companies. Just call Duck Duck Rooter. At Duck Duck Rooter, we do it all. Plumbing, septic, and air conditioning with expert technicians in each department. One company, one call, one easy bill. No hassle, no runaround, just fast professional service from highly skilled techs who know their stuff. Need help? Call 904-862-6769 today and let Duck Duck Rooter handle it all. DuckDuckRooter.com.
All right, fellas, I got to brag a little. I'm down 40 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss and keeping it off.
That's cute, Matt. I'm down 110 pounds. That's like losing a Backstreet Boy.
Okay, so I'm the rookie here. I just started, but I'm already down 13 pounds, and let me tell you, it feels good to see the results already.
That's the thing, man. Awaken 180 works. No shots, no meds, no gimmicks, just real food, real support, and real results.
The support team is a game changer because we all know it's so easy to get distracted. But with Awaken 180, you get your own coach and a plan that works with your lifestyle.
And free support for life.
Plus, no gym workouts required, which is great because let's be honest, I wasn't running wind sprints either.
25, 40, even 110 pounds. If we all can do it, so can you. Call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com.
That's 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The orange and blue spring game in the rearview mirror down for the Florida Gators as they wrap up the 4th spring for Billy Napier and his staff. Some questions about DJ Lagway that might have been answered over the weekend. We'll certainly get into that. But the big story, not only in the SEC, but throughout college football, is the saga with Nico in Knoxville. And it appears that Tennessee now is looking for a new starting quarterback. Let's talk about all of it with Mike Bratton. He is the host of that SEC podcast. And Mike's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, how you doing, man?
Hey, you're doing great, Ryan. I was at the Tennessee spring game, and I got a pretty good laugh because when it was done, I said, hey, I'm not leaving till Nico shows up. And I'd still be up there if that was the case.
How weird was it? Obviously, that's the big story, and I want to get into the whole thing with you. But what was the vibe in Knoxville on Saturday? That had to be a surreal moment.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, when all this broke, I mean, that was kind of the big thing was because I believe this all started Thursday evening. And it was just, I really wanted to be there because I thought he was going to get booed at the spring game. I can't recall a quarterback ever getting booed at a spring game. But by the time Friday rolled around, it was pretty evident he was not even going to be a member of the program anymore. So, it quickly transitioned to wanting to get a look at the other quarterbacks on the roster. But, man, it was wild. There's a lot of Nico jerseys on campus, and a lot of them had his name X'd out. I saw someone edited their jersey to I am a leaving. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah. But, I mean, it was the talk of everybody there was not even really on the game. It was just on what in the world happened and how this happened so quickly. And I think Heupel comes out this looking pretty good, but I also think there's a lot of naivety among the Tennessee fan base to where I get it. You don't want to give in to the demands, and you're happy your university took a stance. But a lot of people think Tennessee is going to be better off on the field without Nico, and I can't fathom that be anything close to the truth when this upcoming year 2 under Nico, I mean, the entire offense was going to be engineered around him.
Well, the crazy thing is, Mike, we had Jimmy Himes on our radio station here in Jacksonville on Friday, and he went on the afternoon show and said that he thought Nico was done. I was taken aback. I was like, whoa. And then literally Saturday morning, that came to fruition, and all indications are that Nico is a good kid. He just might not have the best surrounding cast. When you talk about the people close to him, maybe giving him bad advice. Is that kind of what you're hearing?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So he doesn't really even have proper representation. It's his father, and it's a guy named, I believe his name's Cordell Landers, who briefly worked at Florida, I believe in the recruiting department under Dan Mullen, but even he got dismissed there for some sketchy reasons. So, again, these are the people that are around him, and they've been wanting more money. And quite frankly, I don't think Nico's worth the money Tennessee was even paying him. So to ask for more, it just seemed illogical. And you got to remember, Ryan, he's been getting paid since his senior year in high school.
Mm-hmm.
He got paid his first year. He didn't really even play till the bowl game. So he essentially got 2 years of payment for nothing. And I realize the market has changed. I understand that these athletes, you look around and you might say, well, Carson Beck's not that good. He's making more than Nico. But again, I think Nico's going to find out if he is now, entering free agency, if you will. He's not going to get that $4 million that he was looking for. So at the end of the day, what was this all about? It's kind of smeared his name. And again, not that he can't recover, but I don't think he's the one that comes out looking good in this situation.
Mike Bratton, the host of That SEC podcast. And for people that don't know, I assume most do, but for those that don't, reportedly Nico, the quarterback in Knoxville for the Tennessee Volunteers, was making anywhere from $2.2 to $2.5 million in NIL and had signed a 3-year deal. Reportedly, his dad and some others close to him basically came to Tennessee and said, yeah, that's not working for us anymore. We want in the upwards of $4 million a year. And Tennessee said, well, we're not doing that. And there essentially was a holdout in college football. And now Nico is entering the transfer portal just in the blink of an eye. Mike, I thought on Friday, and I said this at the time, that was a monumental day in college athletics because every school and every star player was going to look at how Tennessee handled this. And because Tennessee didn't buckle and now Nico's got to enter the transfer portal, what will this tell kids that have this idea for themselves down the road?
Well, it's very tough to say, Ryan, because I think it really is a case-by-case basis. And, we shouldn't make it out to where Tennessee is just taking a hard stance on everybody because, and I'm sure this is across the board, there's been a lot of renegotiations. But even at Tennessee, they've had a 5-star receiver, Mike Matthews, who kind of played this game, and Tennessee gave him a pay bump. Right now their best corner, Ricky Gibson, he's really their number 2. But with their best corner, Gerard McCoy, he got injured right at the end of the season. He tore his ACL. So now Ricky Gibson's the number 1. He wanted to be paid like a number 1. And he said he was going to enter the portal to start spring. And what did they do? They gave him more money. So it really is. I think it's a case-by-case basis. I really do. If Arch Manning goes to Sark today and says, hey, I'm going to hit the portal unless you pay me more, I got a strong feeling Texas is going to pay him more. But if it's not an elite player that deserves more, I think people are going to look at this Tennessee situation and they'll probably take the same stance. But I really do think it's a case-by-case basis.
Mike, I want to get to the Gators, obviously. Final thought on this Nico situation in Knoxville. Look, there were a lot of people, myself included, that thought the players deserve to get paid. And I still feel that way. I mean, you think about the millions and millions and millions of dollars that these athletic departments made for years and years and years, and the players didn't receive anything. I mean, they received scholarship money, obviously, which is huge. But come on, there's always that story about Chris Webber in Ann Arbor walking by the Michigan bookstore, sees a $150 number 4 uniform. That's him. But yet he only has $20 in his pocket and wasn't receiving any of the royalties. I felt that was wrong. But it has turned into this, right? Millions and millions of dollars to some of these guys. even the people that wanted the players to get paid, I mean, is it kind of becoming out of hand already?
Oh, well, I mean, to a degree, I think really the thing that needs to be adjusted is just the transfer portal and the fact that there's 2 windows. I'm fine with the transfer portal right after the season. That makes all the sense in the world, but I think it really hurts the game that there's a looming threat after spring and literally, I mean, it's seemingly any time of the year, but I think they just need to limit it to 1 transfer portal window. And I would even go a step further and say, sure, you can have 1 transfer that you won't have to sit out. But if you get to a second one, I think maybe you need to sit out. And maybe that doesn't count graduate transfers. I think they should be able to transfer without sitting out at any point in time. But just the looming threat of multiple free agency windows every single year for every single college athlete, I think it's leading to this sort of chaos that we're in right now.
Yeah, it's an absolute free-for-all right now. I do think there needs to be some sort of regulation, no doubt about that. Final moments with Mike Bratton, the host of that SEC podcast. Mike, closer to home here in Gainesville, they just wrapped up spring ball. DJ Lagway did not participate very much, although it was said over the weekend that Florida does indeed expect him to start throwing in a couple of weeks, which is a great sign based on some of the rumors that were out there. What do you think of Billy Napier in year number 4? I mean, Mike, I think on paper, clearly it's the best roster he's had in Gainesville to this point.
Yeah, but I mean, I heard the same thing last year, and then they come out with a complete dud against Miami and A&M. Now they course corrected, of course, and finished awesome last year. I think if DJ Lagway's 100%, I think Florida can make the college football playoff. I think he's that good. But it's a lot of, hoping and this has got to go our way and that's got to go our way. I mean, it seems to me like the standard has significantly been lowered in Gainesville because my entire life, I remember Florida being championship or bust. And even if things go, the best case scenario, I don't look at the Florida Gators. I know I just said they could make the playoff. I mean, I don't look at them as a team that could realistically compete for it yet going into year 4. I think there's something very wrong with that picture. Now maybe I'll be dead wrong. I thought after that Texas A&M game, I thought Billy Napier was as good as gone as probably everybody listening to this thought. But I don't know. I'm just surprised at how long of a leash he's been given, considering the expectations at that program, or at least what I thought the expectations were. And it just seems like I don't know where that is today. And I feel like it's just significantly lower than where I thought it was.
Yeah, I agree with that. Again, people are really high on the program right now because of the Ole Miss and the LSU and the Florida State wins at the end of last year. But that schedule, again, is very daunting. And, Mike, as you can imagine, we're still basking in the glory here in Northeast Florida of what Todd Golden and the basketball team did. And a big picture question on football. It always just means more on the gridiron, right? But yet they haven't won the national title in the last 2 years, whereas SEC basketball had maybe the best year of any conference in decades in college hoops. Does that put any added pressure on the SEC football teams to kind of reclaim their dominance in their given sport this season?
Oh, I think without a doubt. And not even having a SEC team in the college football playoff the last 2 years, or excuse me, the championship game the last 2 years. I mean, I think that is somewhat of a black eye for a league that likes to pump its chest and say we're number one. I still think it is number one, but clearly the last two years, the best individual team came out of the Big Ten. So there is room to be made up. And right now, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it, Ryan, but I don't think at the SEC either right now. I think they have a couple of teams capable of winning the national championship, but I don't know that the favorite is in this league. Now that may emerge, but I think this transfer portal, I think NIL has kind of really hurt the teams at the top of the conference. I think it's made teams in the middle better, but I think it's really kind of negatively affected some of the teams at the top. And I think that's why Nick Saban left. And I think that's why Kirby Smart seemingly at every turn takes an opportunity to kind of call out the current structure of college football.
Well, and I think they're cannibalizing each other, too. You mentioned NIL, the recruiting trail, the transfer portal. I mean, when you have so many teams with so much heritage, such large fan bases, so much money, you add all of that in that are fighting for guys left and right. You know, they're gonna divvy up, you know, the great players, whereas Ohio State and Michigan are just cleaning up in the Midwest, and they're accumulating more talent than maybe some of these SEC schools are right now because they're spreading them out so thin based on every school down here.
Yeah, and again, I know we don't look at perspectives and things like that, but you got to remember Michigan. I think they knew Jim Harbaugh was literally months away from being banned, probably from coaching. So they went all in that year, right? And then when Michigan wins the national championship, Ohio State, what are they going to do? They're going to spend every dollar to tackle Michigan. So will those fan bases be able to do that year in and year out? I don't know. It remains to be seen, but I think that might be a little bit of an outlier. Again, I don't think Ohio State's going anywhere. I don't think Michigan. Well, I still got a lot of questions about Michigan. I don't care how much they spent on their quarterback. They may be getting into a Nico situation themselves in a year or two. Who knows? But my money is still on an SEC team being better than Michigan and Ohio State year after year.
Mike, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about that SEC podcast, what they can expect, and where they can find it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you, Ryan. Number one SEC podcast on Apple and Spotify, and we are getting pretty big on YouTube. So just search that SEC podcast. I go by SEC Mike. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but Florida is going to be featured prominently in this upcoming SEC Netflix documentary, and our podcast is going to be featured in it as well.
Oh, we look forward to that. No question about it. That SEC podcast, SEC Mike Bratton. Mike, always appreciate the time, man. Thank you. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
And thank you to Mike Bratton of that SEC podcast for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. We're in for Baloo. We're out of here at 8 o'clock, but in our normal time slot, you get RJ Saunders, an open gym the remainder of the week. RJ, how we doing?
Good, Hack, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a lot better after last night. I was worried going to the fourth quarter, but our Orlando Magic prevailed in a big way and are now in the playoffs. Get ready for Boston, game 1 on Sunday.
Hasn't been the finish to the season I feel the Magic would have wanted. They had a couple of tough losses towards the end. However, I think they are going to be coming into the playoffs with a lot of confidence, especially in the way in which they were able to defeat the Atlanta Hawks. And I'm not going to sleep on the Orlando Magic when it comes to the Celtics. I'm not going to say they're going to win the series, but I do definitely think they make it interesting. I don't think any Eastern Conference team wants to open up their playoff run saying we got to go against the Orlando Magic, even if you're the defending champs.
My thing with all the injuries to actually get in the playoffs amidst those injuries, to me, season's already been, it's not a failure at this point. I don't even know if it's a disappointment.
No.
They're in the playoffs. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Open gym. You're on Sundays, but for the remainder of the week, tonight, tomorrow, and Friday, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, what can people look forward to?
Absolutely. So tonight we are going to be talking a little bit about the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, and just want to talk about the criticism in which he has gotten since he's come to Jacksonville. Has it been fair? Has it been just? We'll also talk about the Nico help me out here.
Iamaleava. I'll just say it really fast. Yes.
Situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, we'll talk to Tony Barnhart about that as well. And we'll have Kurt Heelan on to talk with us about the NBA playoffs. So it's definitely going to be an action-packed show, and would love the listeners to give their opinions at 641-1010 and kind of talk with us as we go even deeper into the night on 1010XL.
RJ Saunders, Open Gym, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock coming up in just a matter of moments. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Hack.
There you go. You get RJ coming up right after me. We'll be back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, in for Baloo the remainder of the week, Hacker After Dark. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. I'm the Hacker, Ryan Green. Jacksonville, as always, thank you for listening. Thank you to Mike Bratton of that SEC podcast. We also want to thank Leon Searcy, my buddy here. I'm on XL Primetime every day, former Jaguar offensive tackle, and, of course, Jacob Infante of Pro Football Network. We'll talk